Hey, Ciph.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to do an episode of Juan Epstein?
I would love to.
You know what I would love?
Oh, what?
You're messing up. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know this episode of Juan Epstein, which I would say is going to be one of your favorites in a long time.
I agree.
Like if you're super into nerd rap, like the level we are, it's going to be one of your favorites in a long time. This amazing episode of Juan Ep is brought to you by Squarespace. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter the offer code JuanEp at checkout and get 10% off, okay? Squarespace, build it beautiful. We love you, Squarespace.
Let me tell you what I do when I do stuff. You know, working around the house, building websites on Squarespace. I listen to Juan Ep in the background.
Yes.
So you can do both. Don't think you have to stop this to do that or do that.
No, go do it right now. You've been thinking about doing a website forever. Oh, I'm going to do the website. Don't waste time. You can actually do it yourself. Go to squarespace.com right now. Type in that code, JuanEp, and build it beautiful. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good night.
And
you rushed through that. You went to do that kind of fast.
Well, I want to maximize the time we have.
Okay.
Seize the day. Carpe diem.
I don't want to waste any time. DJ Trak is here.
Yeah, apparently he speaks Latin.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Pig Latin. Ixnay on the Atten lay.
He speaks French.
I do.
Yes.
How about we do the whole interview in English? You respond in French and then in English.
No, I don't do that.
I don't feel like it.
You want to maximize time and then you want that?
I guess we'd only cover half as much.
Canada would love that.
Yeah, no, I mean
Parts of Canada.
Well,
parts.
Yes.
Your part.
My part.
One specific part. All right. Ciph, do you want to start out with talking about Straight Outta Compton before we talk about A-Trak's whole life?
Yeah.
So we had some thoughts that we didn't get in.
We have to get in. They're Juan Ep thoughts that need to be expressed.
What was our last podcast again?
The guy, Trey the Truth.
Trey the Truth. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's dope.
Trey the Truth's dope.
Deep
So we
voice.
only had a very deep voice.
Yeah.
That was like a in-depth interview about one situation.
About one story. But that was cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I kind of like how we did that.
It was like cereal.
I have a funny Trey the Truth story. I have a Trey the Truth story.
You do
that's
already?
very short. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So I made this song a couple years ago called Piss Test with Juicy J and Danny Brown. And then I wanted to do a remix with more people on it. And I reached out to Trey. I didn't know him myself, so I went, homie of mine, hit him up. And then he called me, right? I didn't have his number. Someone calls me. And then
He's big on random calls, Trey the Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called me, and then with his deep voice, he's like, "What's up, A-Trak? This is Trey." I'm like, "Oh, what's up, bro?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I just want to say, man, I'm flattered that you reached out, and I'd love to do a song with you, but I don't smoke or drink, so I can't do a song called Piss Test. But anything else you need, I got you."
Right.
That he's a real
You didn't
dude.
smoke a drink? Oh.
That's what he said at the time.
No, I believe it. I believe it.
He
He's
seems-
always the same. I've only seen him like even. He's like.
So I'm starting to see more people like that. I'm starting
Like
to find more people like I can actually.
Have you decided to change your mind after 38 years?
No, not yet.
Still zooted.
Still not doing a thing? You're still not doing a thing?
Never.
A-Trak,
I
do you
don't
smoke or
smoke.
drink?
No, I don't smoke at all. I've never done any drugs actually, and drink
neither.
like I'll have like wine with dinner kind of thing. I don't drink much.
Do you drink like at the club, like bottles and shit?
Nah.
Not when you're DJing. You don't
Celebrate.
do
No, not when I'm DJing. No.
How about a celebration? Once in a
Yeah, if there's a wedding.
twice a year,
Yeah.
you drink. You have like a hard.
Yeah.
You're not like against it. You just don't do it much.
All right, so Straight Outta
Yeah,
Compton,
now-
real quick,
now
Ciph.
water.
You were saying the rumors today is now that JJ Fad is upset that they were not
I
included.
heard that. The Deborn
yeah.
shit. First, let's talk about the movie. Great movie.
Great.
I made a list of things that were.
Should I be part of that? This
Yes, everything.
the opinions. Okay.
You liked
of
it?
course.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I actually was about to say great, strong. I've been calling it really good. I'm calling it one notch short of great.
The haters.
Well, why did you say it was okay?
You know that part where Ice Cube has the conversation with Eazy-E in the club towards the end, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Man, you said Friday was you said Boys in the Hood was a after school special." I thought that was very ironic because I think that movie looks like an after school special. In terms of the acting, I thought, you know what I thought? I thought it was what it did well was it really captured the tone and the time and place, the sort of like socio-economic and everything setting that bred NWA. You really get a sense of what Compton had to be like in the late 80s and everything. But I thought all those scenes where it's like, what would you call that label? Ruthless.
Yeah, no, that's gonna happen with those kind of movies.
Doesn't have to happen. Yeah, or hold on. I got an idea for a rap. 1,
2,
2. It's like,
3
come
until the
on.
4. That was the worst. That part was almost unbearable to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And he
it's
was
2.5
playing the
hours,
sample?
right? It's 2.5 hours. It didn't. I got into it. It didn't feel long. I thought it was.
No, it was a very good and entertaining movie.
Exactly.
But if you're a hardcore fan, there were some tough parts to get through.
But of hip hop movies, though, it has to be the best one. Notorious was a Disney
was terrible.
Cinderella film.
Okay, it's
terrible.
better than Notorious, yes.
CB4 was better than.
That's that a hip hop movie though.
Okay.
That's like
You mean
it's
a hip hop
movie-
historical movie?
Yes.
But there are only been 3. What's the other one?
I don't know.
And I don't even remember what the other one was besides
No,
Notorious.
even like not just biopics.
Like a proper Hollywood hip hop movie.
All right, whatever, forget it.
I thought it was very good. I thought Ice Cube's son was amazing.
very good.
I thought there were parts when he's scary how much he's Ice Cube.
His curl was convincing.
Oh my
Yeah.
I
gosh.
believed that curl.
Yeah.
I thought Dre was good. I thought Easy was good. I thought Paul Giamatti was good. I thought they did a
I
great.
didn't. I thought it was
Overplayed?
laughable that they casted Paul Giamatti.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was
Why,
horrible.
he's too short?
No, it
Jerry Hill is very tall.
I didn't know that. It turns him into comic relief. It turns it into like
What his hair? That hair?
yeah, or just knowing his character, just knowing that Paul Giamatti's like personality too much as an actor. Usually, it's like the other thing that bothered me about the movie. It's too much of a like Dr. Dre is our Lord and Savior, and
Well,
saint,
that
and
is-
Suge Knight is the devil, and I'm sure Suge Knight's a very bad person, but he can't, but like it's a little exaggerated in there, and
It's too.
and
But
Heller.
it's years in 2.5 hours. You
Yeah,
gotta.
sure.
You gotta.
Oh, then guess what?
You gotta be ruthless
Then maybe
with the cuts.
then maybe it
Ayo.
should, then maybe it should have been a Netflix series instead. You know, like it just
Oh my god, that would have been sick.
you know maybe they do
Uh-huh.
10 episodes to try to tell the story instead of fit it into 2.5 hours because
Yeah,
when
that
it-
would be sick.
When it
Game of
jumps
Thrones.
when it jumps ahead to fucking
not enough
Tupac,
dragons. Yeah.
like, and I'm like, oh, now we're getting Tupac too. This is too much. You guys have bit off
Yeah.
more than you can chew.
No,
You know,
you
I
have to
yeah.
mention it was. They were just. It was.
then why not JJ Fad?
they were
They're as
time-
important as Tupac.
They were time.
In my book,
holders.
they are.
They were time. What do you call it? Time placements. What's place savers?
yes.
They were just to let you know around what year this was. But the thing I liked about it, you can't get way into Tupac in the NWA story.
no.
Yeah.
Everything, even though they went into the Chronic and they went into America's Most Wanted, it was still in the lens of NWA. Yes, the guys from NWA went on to do other things. We know that, but it's like when Dre was at death row, Easy was going through this. So you have to put those things in, but it wasn't a death row movie. It wasn't a Ice Cube movie. It was
I
an
agree.
NWA movie. So it had to like filter back down to Easy. Well, Ren got the short end of the stick in the movie, but
Right, of course. Well, but I mean,
Easy.
Ren personality-wise, for at least what everyone ever saw, we didn't know what Ren was.
Yeah.
I think the
But
best.
Ren had a solo album.
Yeah, they did.
Ren and Stimpy.
But it had to-
he had a cartoon.
And
Ren
it had a
and Stimpy
cartoon.
spin-off.
They had the cartoon.
Such a change that
But
was.
it has to filter back down through NWA. Now, I would love to see a Death Row movie.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Tupac movie.
Call me when there's
Snoop.
a sick-witted movie for E40 with that logo. With
By the way,
pig.
I'm sure that's something. There's no chance 40's not working on that.
I have a friend who does photography for E40's wine line. He makes wine.
Mm-hmm.
Earl makes wine, and yeah, my friend takes like the official product shots of his
Yeah.
wine. I think that's great.
It's amazing. I thought the thing that was best done was everything related to Easy. Like,
Yeah.
Easy's death was sad. Like,
Yeah.
I left very sad,
Yeah.
and I remembered. Like, I saw it on a Saturday morning by myself, and I left the theater feeling like, yeah, exactly. And I left the theater just being like, I kind of forgot about how big of a bummer
Right.
that was.
And
like how sad it is that he's
we
gone.
love, the Chronic and all the Eazy-E diss records. So like you kind of almost take sides. Like I definitely was on the Death Row side. I
Well,
like
everyone
Dre
was.
better than Eazy at the time, right? And then looking back, I'm like, damn, there would be no Dre without Eazy.
Mm-hmm.
And your friend died, passing away. Like my uncle died of fucking AIDS. Like that shit hurts.
It was bad. And I thought that part was very well done. I thought the nuance of the Eazy-E Jerry Heller relationship was actually well done too.
That was cool.
Like I think they made it look like you could tell, even though they made Jerry Heller look not like a great guy, obviously, you could tell that
Easy
he
was
cared,
loyal.
and you could tell that he cared for Easy.
Right.
Yes, he was doing. Like, as Ebro was saying to me the other day, we were talking about it, he's like, dude, he probably had the same deals in place that Diddy and everybody else basically had in place.
Of course.
And Cube was just, and Cube, for decent reason, was pissed off about that. But like, you never thought Jerry was trying to rip off Easy. You could sense that they had a real relationship.
Yeah.
So I did think there was some nuance to it, but then there are these blatant parts that I was just like rolling my eyes, like, guys.
Yeah.
You heard the shit Suge said about Easy?
What?
I saw this on the news somewhere. He said I don't know if it's true, but he said he's suing for defamation of character because they didn't show him evil enough. And he said he beat Easy an inch.
Within
away
an inch
from
of death.
Yeah, within an inch of death.
So like, and Easy
he
was just
signed.
kind of beat up and like sitting outside, like, oh, I'm in pain.
Yeah. I'm going to
So
kill
wait,
him.
Suge is suing? Or who's suing?
I don't know if he's really
Let me tell you what
suing.
Suge's not doing. Suge's not doing anything right now,
Yeah.
except trying to avoid spending the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
Anyways, DJ Trak.
Hi.
Yeah.
An amazing story. The guy who runs Fool's Gold,
Owns it.
owns it, runs it, the face of it,
Hi.
Nice, good job.
trendsetter, artist breaker, tastemaker.
Where's those York peppermint patties? Are those coming?
Oh yeah, good point. We just got water. What
Ciph is not impressed.
the hell's going on in here? And now look at
I
Ant.
thought we were getting snacks.
But my biggest fascination with A-Track is, of course,
My muscular build.
was your incredible physique. I've always said.
Hey, thanks, Ant.
Thanks so much. I've always said, what a well-built Montrealian gentleman he is, French-Canadian he is.
Montreal, huh?
Yep.
So, at what age did you get obsessed with hip-hop?
12? Yeah.
Do you remember the album or song?
Yeah. I used to listen to classic rock before. So for me, the transition, like I went from listening to like Zeppelin and Hendrix and Pink Floyd, but also like Red Hot Chili Peppers, like more current stuff. I went from that to hip hop through the Beastie Boys and Cypress Hill. Those were the gateways.
Wow. So it really worked for you the way it did probably for like a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Wait, well, who was into classic rock and all that stuff? Like, how'd you get into that stuff? Your family or?
Yeah. So my brother and I were always really close, still are. And so he's a little bit older, and he picked up the guitar when he was pretty young. So he was in bands when he was in
Right.
school.
He still is.
Yeah, so now he's in a band,
Chromeo.
on
They're kind of
TV.
they're popular, yeah.
But at the time, when I was like 11 and he was 15, he was discovering, Hendrix and stuff like that with his group of friends. So I would hang out with him and his friends.
Right.
They were getting into classic rock, and I was just listening to whatever they were listening to.
And then which Beasties album when you were 12? Check Your Head?
Yeah. So What You Want was like that video is what did it for me.
Really?
Yeah, and then so I got, Dave and I got the whole album, Check Your Head, and then sort of around the same time also got Paul's Boutique, which came out before, obviously, but like ingested those two at the same time, and anticipated Ill Communication, and somewhere in there also went back and listened to License to Ill, but I really got into Check Your Head and Paul's Boutique at the same time.
Hey, Paul's Boutique is second?
Yeah, that was the second one.
Okay.
That's the one.
That's the
one?
that's the blueprint for me in terms of like
A lot of people think that's the one.
production and
Yeah.
Oh, I thought License to Ill was the one.
Nah.
they were starting to get a little Buddha vibes on there a little bit.
Well, by the way, for a non-white New Yorker, License to Ill's the one. For everyone else,
What's Paul's Boutique? What's on there?
Shake Your Rump. That's the one that
Hey
I always
Ladies,
think of.
and
Hey
that's the
Ladies.
one that the Dust Brothers produced with like
Yeah, no, I don't know
all
that.
the samples everywhere, like that whole that cut and paste aesthetic of layering samples and everything.
Yeah.
That was Paul's Boutique, really.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to say it.
What you
I don't
wanna
think
do?
I've
I'm
ever
sorry.
heard Paul's Boutique.
Oh man,
This is a
dude.
Twitter is about to be set on fire. This is
I don't
a
think I've
moment.
ever heard it now that I think about it.
I think it's one of the most important albums in music.
That's what
I'm
a
gonna go get
lot
it.
of people feel that way.
Yeah,
Really? It's
Yeah.
like that?
yeah, really.
Oh, Hey Lady. Hey
Ladies is on there, yeah.
That's from Paul's Boutique?
Yeah, and Shadrach and Hello Brooklyn and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot on there.
I've never heard it.
Many people consider it. There are people of our generation who consider it the greatest album ever made.
Wow. I
So
will go check
are you going to listen to it by the next time we do a podcast?
No.
Why not? You don't
You're
have a
like,
drive?
give me a year.
Yeah, give me some time.
Do you listen to Check Your Head ever?
Yeah, I listen to every other Beastie album.
Wow. So yeah, Check Your Head's really grown on me.
That's amazing.
At the time,
Yeah.
I only loved So What You Want and Pass the Mic.
Yeah, I agree.
It's crazy.
And now getting older, I'm like, oh man, the whole
We used to
thing's
play
good.
Check Your Head in Fat Beats.
Dude,
And I'm like, it's cool.
The skits on Check Your Head.
Yeah.
It does go well with the chicken, all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, it's all. So then Cypress got you in '94 with Insane in the Brain.
Yeah, Insane in the Brain. I would say that So What You Want and Insane in the Brain, those two songs really made the transition for me to get into hip hop. And then from there,
Tribe.
yeah, exactly. From there,
I can follow your whole path now.
well, and Farside. It was those albums that came out in '94. Tribe, Midnight Marauders, hugely important album for me. Pete Rock and CL Smooth, The Main Ingredient. That's probably the album that influenced my scratching the most when I was trying to learn how to scratch, which happened right around there. Yeah.
Did you scratch a lot of Biz Markie and Big Daddy Kane
Yes, exactly.
samples?
I was like, why is every scratch sample Biz Markie? And so I had to get Biz Markie records. And I next thing you know, I was doing routines on Biz Markie records at the DMCs because Pete Rock kept scratching those things.
I hope this is not a rude question, but did you come from like a good background? Like, did you have money to buy all this stuff?
Middle class, not very well off, just middle class.
But like
we definitely were never struggling, but at the same time, like it wasn't, you know, we couldn't.
But like, how'd
we couldn't have-
how'd you get records?
So like we couldn't have like Jordans, or we weren't going on vacations.
Right,
every
right,
year.
right.
But to buy records, I just bought a couple. Like first of all, so I bought my first turntable with bar mitzvah money.
Right, okay.
But it wasn't. I didn't have one of those bar mitzvahs where you walk home with, you know,
Thousands,
tens of thousands of dollars, and,
Right.
and there's like some, you know.
But you got enough to get some equipment.
Yeah, literally, I remember I bought a secondhand turntable for $400.
Right.
I just had to convince my dad to let me buy a turntable because he was like,
Say for 100 or for 400?
400.
For 1,200?
Yeah, a secondhand 1200.
I mean, that's not a great price back then for a secondhand turntable.
It's reasonable. So I got that. So, but
400 Canadian.
yeah, it's kind of the same thing. My dad was like, we have a turntable. I was like, but I scratched. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I got a Gemini Scratch Master mixer.
Of course you did.
My first setup
Oh,
was...
he's Jewish.
Yeah.
Now,
That's why I like the Beastie Boys. My first setup was on the right. I had my dad's belt drive
course.
turntable to play the beat that I would scratch over,
Right.
and the Gemini mixer. And on the left, I had the techniques that I was scratching on. So I scratched on the left, and then like 6 months later, I saved up a little more cash and bought a second.
did you
1200.
realize right away, like I did not, that you had to take the rubber platter off your turntable?
Yeah, you know why? But I didn't fully do the right thing. But the reason why is on the cover art for The Main Ingredient.
Yep.
There's a picture of Pete Rock's turntable
And it's
where
flat with the.
he has like a paper towel.
Right.
He has like a downy paper towel
Yeah.
on his 12 as a slip mat. So I took off my dad's like rubber thick mat or whatever you call it, but I put a paper towel instead and used that to scratch.
Paper towel right on the platter.
And then at one point someone was like, hey, they make these felts. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, and then funny story.
I used to put the slim mats on top of the rubber platter.
Yeah, that's not good. And by the way, like a few years ago, I met the photographer Danny Clinch, who took the pictures
Yes.
for.
I've been trying to get him up here too. Yeah.
He's incredible. And I told him that I was like, yo, when I started to scratch, your picture gave me the blueprint. And then one of the first DJs that I met in Montreal was Kid Koala, who's also known for, you know, as a turntablist and everything, but he's this very sort of crafty turntablist. Like he has his own vinyl presser, makes his own vinyl, all this stuff. He's just a crafty dude. And he used to like make his own slip mats. He used to buy felt in stock and like grab a scissor and cut it. So like I went from a paper towel to like cutting my own slip mat because this guy told me that's what he did, to eventually just buying the Techniques felt that everybody has.
Right.
And why did you set up, this is a super nerd DJ question, why set up the technique on the left?
You already knew you preferred it like that?
Yeah, I just happened to start scratching on the left.
See,
too.
I failed. To this day, my left scratch is nervous.
My right hand is nervous.
My right hand's nervous.
I was more because I realized late in life that your faster hand
Should go on the fader?
On the fader.
But that's...
Well, it doesn't have to, but you can't get certain sounds.
It changed around that time, though, because I started to cut in like 95. in like 95, 96, that's when the Scratch Pickles and those guys were coming up with like the crab scratch, the flare, and all that stuff, which are scratches that involve more fader movement. So it just, at that point in time, I saw that the fader was more important.
Like I was trying to emulate Premiere,
which is more of a
so it's like rhythmic with your hand, you know. So you had
and
to
Premiere was a huge influence for me too. For like one of those seminal like '94 albums that really influenced me.
Hard Darn.
No, I got Hard Turn later. It's funny. There's a lot of stuff that I missed out on.
Right, and so the order's off.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I got Return of the Boom Bap, which had a bunch of Premiere songs, like that intro,
the whole thing.
Yeah.
The KRS-One Attacks intro. That was like I just tried to understand all those scratches.
I love KRS-One Attacks.
That's so
big
good.
fan.
Yeah. And then Out of Here and all these songs, you know?
Yeah, he did the whole record, which I didn't realize at the time.
Preem?
Yes.
No.
Not every song.
All but what, one?
No, he did like half of it. Showbiz did a couple beats.
No, Showbiz did Sound of the Police.
He did Sound of the Police.
Showbiz did Sound of the Police.
Well, he didn't do. Wait, is 13 and Good on there?
Nope.
No, it's the next.
That's
one.
Sex and
Who
Violence.
did Black Cop? I don't think it's Primo.
No,
I
it's
think
not
Preem
Premier.
did like half of Return of the Boom Bap.
We're going to look right now.
Because it's at a time when Preem used to actually make full albums, the J-Ru stuff,
Right.
the Group Home stuff.
He didn't do the whole thing.
I don't think he did all of Return of the Boom
I'm
Bap.
calling it more than
Well,
75%.
Black Cop was made for something else, and then they put it on there.
Oh, yeah?
Wasn't it like a soundtrack or a street record or something?
Maybe.
I think Black Cop was on the soundtrack later.
Feels like Kenny Parker did Black Cop.
That's what it feels like. So, real quick, track listing. All right, KRS-One Attacks, Premiere. Out of Here, Premiere.
Yeah.
Black Cop, KRS-One.
Okay.
Mortal Thought, Premiere. I Can't Wake Up, Premiere, KRS-One. Slap Them Up. I don't know who the fuck this is.
Who's that?
I don't remember that song.
I don't remember the song, but I also remember who produced it.
Who is it?
Nordy Cotto.
Oh,
Douglas.
Nordy? Yeah, you know Nordy.
I do?
Yo, you know Nordy.
Are you being serious or
No,
sarcastic?
definitely. He did like, he was like, oh, Nordy Cotto. That's the engineer. That's Premier's engineer.
Okay, that's Premier's engineer.
You see him on every Gangstar record.
Okay,
yeah.
as an engineer.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure about
And
that.
I think he was a house DJ.
Okay.
All right, I'm looking bad here. Sound of the Police, Showbiz. Mad Crew, KRS. Uh-oh, KRS. Brown Skin Woman, Kid Capri. I'm looking like a disaster right now. Return of the Boom Bap, KRS-One. P is Still Free, DJ Premier. Stop Frontin', Kid Capri. Higher Level, DJ Premier. You're
Higher
exactly
Level was
right.
ill. He started
Level's
rapping
amazing.
like halfway into the
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
He said this is part for MCs if you just want to rhyme.
Yeah, which by the way, another
Damn,
example
he only
of
did
a
like
song.
6.
Yeah, see, another example of a song where the raps only start halfway in the song. Arguably my favorite song of all time, G-Dep Special Delivery, which is like that's my jam, and he only starts because Puff does ad libs for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, right.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because they did another version where it starts right away.
I'm sure
For the radio.
it's like
But
Puff,
yeah.
stop it.
But you're right. This beat just rocks for mad long.
Do you have the thing up to play
Do you
music?
play
or
that
no?
now?
Do you have the thing up so I can play my iPod or no?
Yeah, did you play?
Yeah, no, I didn't yet, but is it available for me if I
Want
want
to
to?
play some? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, nice. What do you say, Zach?
No, I was saying, do you play Special Delivery now? Ever?
Yeah, sometimes, but just to be a smartass. You know, like sometimes you'll do a set where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop like I don't know, like
your joints.
like a Total or a 112 record.
I never play that. It's not even in a crate.
What's
Special Delivery.
Yeah, it should be.
What a strange song. I just like it because it's weird.
It's very weird.
The hi-hats are weird. Everything's weird.
Boom Bap album. Check it out.
Take a second.
And by the way, Premiere didn't used to do filtered bass lines like this and like at first, right? This is like Large Professor influenced Premiere to
Yes.
me, right?
Maybe like 950, like a
yeah,
S, like a S950.
He definitely had the 950.
Put it in the S950, then stretch it.
And stretch it.
Stretch it out.
You know what that makes me think of? Do you think Large Professor's original album stuff is here
It might.
as a single?
You gotta play I Just Wanna Chill.
Yeah.
Mean!
We gon' rock some stuff like this. We gon' rock some stuff like this.
Okay, this sound right here is what I think a lot of these new kids are trying to recreate when they say
Yes.
they're into 90s, but it's not. They're missing something.
Yeah, well, they're just not as good.
Maybe I think the machines and everything that they're using nowadays are too clean.
Yeah, you got to know like how to process the
Yeah.
samples to give it the grain of like, can have that?
No, the 12-inch only had this.
Yeah.
all the mad scientists extra P, about to set up shop and drop this next degree on the
You know,
masses.
for true nerds, there was a lot of hype leading up for the Large Professor album that never was.
That never came out, of course. That was, man, before Detox, that was the anticipated.
Yeah, people were like, what's this? And then the single's
Queen's
amazing.
represented by the album when I drop it. And then it was like, okay, drop it.
And then it never dropped it.
ready.
So how do you, at this point, does your brother get into it with you too?
Yeah, he was definitely into it.
So you both went all the way in.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, so when we were getting into these albums, a lot of times he would borrow the album from a friend of his at school, and he would dub it on a blank tape. But the blank tapes sometimes were too short to fit the whole album, so he would make a selection and leave out a couple songs. So the copy of Main Ingredient that I listened to, the copy of Return the
Oh
Boom
no,
Bap,
what did he leave off of Main Ingredient? That's
man,
tough.
Yeah, it's crazy because that's like really one of the most important albums for me. But that cassette dub at first didn't have Sun Must Come Out.
Okay.
It didn't have...
It's a good decision though.
Some of the songs towards the end, I forget. I got to see a track listing, but there was a few towards the end that were left out.
Damn that.
So that was funny. Yeah. But yeah, we used to listen to that stuff together. But for instance, when Wu-Tang first came out, I didn't get it right away.
What, you didn't get the whole album?
I just didn't get it. Like
Or
I
you
just
didn't
literally
get it.
didn't get it. I remember we'd go to the local record store. There's one shop where we would buy our 12 inches, and everybody was like, "Yo, play that Raekwon." The same way everybody was like, "Play that Mobb Deep." Those two, I only sort of understood a year later. It took me a second.
Ooh.
I was 13 in Canada, but
Right.
I liked.
Yeah,
De La
and
Soul.
Wu-Tang was weird.
It was
when you
weird.
think about it.
So at first I got into Farside, Tribe, De La, and whatever Premier and Pete
Yeah,
Rock
so
were
you're
making.
more. So
No,
it's
and think about that.
It's looking
At first.
jazzy-ish.
At first, yeah. And then I got into the darker
Well, that's what I'm going to
stuff.
say, because if you come from, I'm a little bit, we ended up ultimately, you and I have the same taste, but we came from different approaches because I came from trips to New York, Marley Marl, Red Alert. So I
Right.
came through the exact same filter as a New York hip hop head. So Wu-Tang felt completely like right at the moment. Wasn't
Yeah.
hard to digest at all. It was
Yeah.
like, boom. But if you came from Beastie's Cypress,
Yeah.
even though a lot of those people eventually got into Wu-Tang,
They sure
at
did.
first it is a bit of a jump.
Yeah,
It's like,
eventually they got
definitely
into it,
jump.
and eventually they all wore the camo out the head to toe.
did that
out
drive
the-
you crazy as the white kid who loved hip hop and it became your thing?
Yeah.
Were you someone who got driven crazy by what you deemed to be other white posers being into hip hop?
I wouldn't go as far as saying drive me crazy. I thought some of it was a little funny in terms of like that caricatural like 1996 or 7 Wu-Tang fan with the bucket hat and PNB t-shirts or whatever. Because I was a little bit more into the skater aesthetic, I would say. But I don't know.
Just from a clothing. So you were still influenced more by the Beastie style,
Yes.
from in terms of dress.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of gave the blueprint of like you can do this and be an acceptable
Yeah.
white boy who still loves hip hop.
Literally, the Beasties literally gave the blueprint of like if you're a white middle class kid who wants to infiltrate this culture, here's how you do it respectfully, and you don't take yourself too seriously. So you know what I mean. You show a little sense of humor, but at the same time, you're a student. Like the Beasties would name drop. Like the names of the records that they would sample. Like I learned a lot. I learned about a lot of stuff. Like I don't know, Sergio Mendes or whatever. Just because they would say that.
Like Schoolie D, they would
Yeah.
always say the reference, and a lot of times
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I didn't realize.
And the album art, like the patchwork photos of Check Your Head, you'd see all these dusty vinyls. You'd be like, oh, what's that? You go to the
Yeah,
shop.
yeah.
You're like, oh wait, I recognize this from the Beasties record. And you buy it, and you recognize samples on it.
So we got to get to how you eventually. You don't start mixing until 95.
Yeah,
When's your first battle?
97 or late 96. Really, it was the 97 DMC battle, but the Montreal regionals were in late 96, leading up to it.
How the fuck?
Yeah, how'd you get that good
How
that fast?
the fuck?
I was a little monk, man. I would just come home after school and scratch.
Be realistic.
So was I.
I don't know.
Well, he's better than you. That's just-
Obviously. Listen,
but how many
Nature and
hours?
nurture.
Like how many exactly? How many hours did you put in? Could you
3, 4, 5 every day.
So 3, 4, 5
every day.
I would say like on the school day, 3. School would end at 3:30. I would practice at home from like 4 to 7,
And then dinner time.
Have dinner, and then do my homework after. And then on the weekend, 4 hours, 5 hours.
And you didn't have friends?
A
You
social
didn't go
life?
out?
Yeah.
like-
Did you have a social life?
My social life was at school. I wasn't like a
a hermit.
No, yeah, I wasn't a
You-
complete isolated nerd. I had friends at school, but I
it was
saw
at
them at
school.
school.
Right.
When we were at the age where people were starting to party on weekends, I wasn't really doing that. I was starting to get gigs. I would go out of town and DJ in Oakland when the other friends were having a house party.
Because you started getting gigs once you did the DMC.
Yeah, as soon as I won the DMC. Like
you won that first one?
Well,
Yeah.
let's start with the regionals. I want to hear. So I want to start. So you're how old when you go to these regionals?
The Montreal regionals, I was still 14.
Montreal regionals.
Late 96.
14.
I was 14. And
Anyone else notable in this?
Not really that year. The year before, Kid Koala won.
Okay.
So, and by then, he and I became friends, even though he's like 5-6 years older than me, but he was kind of like advising me. But the year that I entered the Montreal battle, it was just local DJs, and I won that.
Does your age have anything to do with it?
I don't know. I mean,
listen, I'm not taking anything away from your talent.
I'm not taking it away, but like, there's a couple
he's
haters.
ill and he's 14.
Yeah, so maybe in the beginning it was like there was a novelty factor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like to think that I could scratch better than the other guys in that battle,
Right.
but
I mean,
I'm sure
I'm sure
it
you
played some
could.
sort of role. I won the Montreal regionals. The Canadian finals, I remember, were in May '97. I just turned 15, and they brought out Qbert to judge that one. So Qbert is a judge. Canadian finals. At that one, I had to go against some Toronto DJs that had a pretty good reputation in Canada. So I remember
Sir Scratch and K Cut were both in this.
they weren't in this. No,
Okay,
there was
too
a crew called Turnstiles.
Okay.
Little Jazz, DJ Grouch, D Scratch.
Always
They
have
were
to have a
dope.
jazz.
Have
Yeah.
to. Did they go on to do anything in hip hop like afterwards, or were they just notable DJs?
Yeah, Grouch was active in the Toronto, underground hip hop scene for years.
Okay.
And
this is in Toronto.
no, the battle was in Montreal.
Oh, it was in Montreal.
Yeah, and these Toronto guys brought like busloads of Toronto fans to cheer them, but Qbert was judging, and he really liked what I was doing.
Would you have been able to go if it was in Toronto, or did you luck out that it was in Montreal? Would your parents have took you?
Yeah, they would have taken me.
They would have
yeah.
taken.
Well, he already
Yeah.
won one.
So yeah, they already know
So
you're
it's-
serious.
Yeah, but you know
now.
what's funny? Oh, and if you've ever watched DMC videos, you know about Tony Prince, the British head of DMC who would host these battles. He was a bit of a goof. He came to the Canadian finals too. So Qbert and the British head of DMC, Tony Prince, were at the Canadian final, which I won. Which I didn't even expect to win. I remember telling my whole family, like, I just want to be top 3. If I can place, I'll be so happy.
What was? Do you remember what your set was?
Yeah, it was essentially the same as the World Finals that anybody can see on YouTube from '97, because the World Finals were a month later. So I didn't change it much. I had that intro, all you fucking DJs are stupid, where I was mixing up the KRS shit with the Marley scratch. And then I had my routine with Nobody Beats the Biz. I had a beat juggle with this Qbert Battle Break record, and then a whole bunch of scratching. But
And your parents were fine with you cutting up bad words?
Yeah, they were.
Curse words.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
They're liberal.
And by the way, where were the world and where were the worlds?
The Worlds were in Italy, so I won the Canadian finals, and the head of DMC is like, "We're bringing you to Italy next month." And he, for years he would
And they flew
remind
you.
me. Yeah, for years he would remind me, like, "Do you remember that you said you might not be able to come because you have school?" Yeah, no shit. I was in high school, so I had to get permission to miss a couple days. I went to Italy for the
When
World
was it?
Finals.
Oh, a month later, you said, right?
Yeah,
so
June.
So it's the end of the year.
Yeah,
And your mom went with you?
my mom went with me. A lot of times my brother would travel with me, but he had like his finals at school. This was early June.
He had finals also.
Yeah, exactly. School
So you're
finals.
what, sophomore?
And we don't-
15, sophomore, junior? Oh, grade 10.
We don't call it the same thing in Canada, so I don't even know.
Grade 10.
Gotta be out of your fucking mind.
You look 7, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
Stupid. Gotta be out of your fucking mind. Fucking stupid. Stupid. Gotta be out of your fucking mind.
All your other DJs are a bunch of jerks. Give them an example how a DJ works.
I can't. I can never get over how young you're looking at. Oh, here we go. This time. By the way, you're scratching 2 different versions of the record.
Yeah, I couldn't find 2 the same. It was like different pressings.
Yeah.
There's a good part after this, I'm
Can you still do this?
Yeah, I haven't tried, but I know I can learn that. I had some routines from like years after that were more technical that I don't like. I would need to spend 3 days to learn them again. That one I could do. And so at the World Finals, here's what's interesting. Usually, DMC had like kind of shady choices of judges. It would be like the head of MTV Europe and like our sponsor from, a vacuum cleaner company or whatever. But that year, they decided to do this thing the same weekend called the Summit, where they brought back all the past world champions to do a show. And while they were there, they got all the past champions to judge. So I was judged by not only Qbert, but Rock Raider, DJ Noise, Cutmaster Swift, all these guys. And so I met Raider in Italy, and he stayed a very influential person in my life for years after that. And anytime I would go to New York, I'd go visit him, and it's thanks to him that I went on the Stretch and Bobbito radio show later that same year.
So you won this?
Yeah, I won that battle. Yeah, so that was the first.
15 years old.
Yeah, 15. My
Just
first
turned
battle.
15.
Just turned
in Italy.
World.
Yeah.
So at this
which was
point,
a trip. It didn't even make. I don't think it.
Your
registered
mom
in
is
my
in the
head.
crowd like,
Yeah.
now, how big of a deal did your Jewish parents make, and how much do they understand that you were now crowned by the only sanctioning body that matters, the best DJ in the world?
They thought it was neat. I don't know. They were proud.
Like they were pretty excited.
Yeah, they were excited for sure.
And they understood it was a big enough deal, like they could show off to their friends. And my dad only cares about things insofar as how much can his friends understand that it's a big deal.
Yeah, but it was,
It's a lot of explaining.
Exactly.
It's a lot of
you have a trophy, though. So you can point to a trophy. But like, what is it for? Well, he takes vinyl
scratches,
records
yeah.
and he doesn't that mess up your hi-fi?
How many times did you have those? How many times did you have those
how many
conversations?
aunties? Yeah, for sure. Which is like, because now everybody knows what a DJ is, right?
Yeah.
And like,
Except for me. I'm now confused about what a DJ
but
is.
now any auntie will be like, "Oh, don't you want a DJ?" Like it's just everywhere. And like, if you like, I've been spending time in LA. If you drive down Sunset, every billboard is a Vegas DJ. DJs are everywhere. You don't really have to explain to your relatives what DJing.
No,
is.
not
even though.
anymore.
But the big paradox is no one really knows what DJing is actually. Everybody's
right.
like, what does that guy do up there? But at least people understand that DJs
It's
play a role, play at festivals,
Definitely
make songs.
mainstream,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
back
they
then it
might
was like,
have turntables.
yeah,
They
or
don't
something.
even-
So
Back then it was like, what are you doing? What do you mean?
So you went. So Rock Radar. You come to New York then to visit later.
Yeah, I came to New York for a show. I played table turns. I don't know if you remember table turns at the New Yorican Poets Cafe.
But you're what, now 16?
I was still 15. It was still later that year.
And so your mom would bring you again.
My brother came with me that time.
Nice.
Well,
Okay.
you're
Oh, your brother's
getting
19.
They would, yeah.
How are you getting booked? Like,
They were calling my parents' house, literally. Or like sending
That's
emails.
incredible.
Yeah. Like,
What's
and
an
my
email?
voice hadn't changed. I remember when my voice changed a couple months later, that same year, some of these promoters who were used to calling me at my parents' house, like there's one time where I picked up and they were like, "Can I speak to A-Track?" I'm like, "It's me." They're like, "Yeah, funny, Dave. Put your brother on the phone." And they're like, they all knew me like that. Like, "Yo, what happened to your voice, kid?" Like,
Right. You're growing up.
Yeah.
So, but you're getting booked for, these are like what kind of events are these? Like
It was...
turntable things?
Yeah, definitely. In the beginning, at first, I wasn't playing party sets for like a good year or two after that. Still, I was getting booked. Like turntablism was a thing at that time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, it was a moment in time.
So
People wanted to. So I was getting booked to do a routine, a 15-20 minute routine of
Right.
turntablism.
And that's like the headliner.
yes.
There was other guys opening up for you doing routines too.
Yeah, or it would be an event with like three of us. It would be like, you know, tonight in Calgary, A-Track, DJ Craze, and Total Eclipse. And
Right.
we would all just go up there and do our scratching thing.
And how big
And,
are
and
these
even
venues?
internationally, I went to Korea that year. And how big are the venues?
Like SOBs, like 500 people, 400 people?
Yeah, that size.
What was like the
my
biggest one? The biggest...
biggest one? I mean, the thing is, around the same time, I started getting booked at raves too. Ravers loved scratching.
Yeah.
So I'd get booked at a rave, and there would be, you know, raves used to have these rooms. You had the drum and bass room,
Right.
the happy hardcore room, the tech house room, and then there'd be a turntablist room. right?
I see. I've been to a couple of those with Riz.
Yeah, Riz knows that world.
So
yeah.
people will be in there stoned and
tripping
dancing.
balls and just watching it scratch, and it's like psychedelic to them. But at those raves, I had to start doing a 1 hour set. So I'd bring a crate of records and just play a couple records. But the highlight was like, all right, now I'm gonna scratch, and then that's
right.
when
But
people
even
really
even you playing regular songs, you would still scratch the intros.
Yeah, kind
make
of.
it cool, and then let it play, and then you'd get into like a routine.
Yeah.
And then you'd play a couple more songs.
Yeah.
Get into a routine.
Yeah.
And then you'd also just
Like
drop a
stretch.
break beat or an instrumental and just scratch on it too.
Yeah,
And just
exactly.
get busy.
Yes.
Which must have been, at that point for you, must have been so easy when you get to the point where you're that good a scratcher.
Yeah.
And you just, and these are just high anyway. So all you can do
Right.
is play Sound of the Police instrumental and start
Or just scratch over
getting
it.
busy on it.
Yeah,
That's
or just,
easy.
or even grab a break record, grab Super Duck Breaks or whatever, and just
Right.
scratch over it.
And just scratch effects, right?
Yeah.
And
It's like-
fucking, it's playing like it's like a good, like an ill guitar. It's just
Exactly. That's what I was going to
Just
say. Is
going
like
great.
those were the virtuoso years of turntablism. So it would be comparable to like if a guy like, I was going to say Slash, but maybe even Joe Satriani or some sort of like really noodling guitar player was getting booked at like, I don't know, guitar clinics or something where people would just be like, all right, I'll watch you do your thing for an hour. Sure,
Right.
why not?
Just get busy. That's it.
yeah. Yeah.
Which, by the way, people
you're
would do.
getting these gigs. You're getting paid.
Yeah.
How much roughly back
At the
then?
time,
Yeah, what do they offer a 15-year-old, virtuoso
But a
DJ?
world champ though.
But a world
Yeah, but a
champion,
world champ.
right? A world champ.
But I can't be how much like
a grand or two, I don't know.
right.
Maybe. I
For
really
the
don't remember.
raves.
Yeah, for the raves.
How
And-
much would you get like when you said like you did the New York?
yeah.
A couple hundred.
$400.
Yeah.
But they'll
and-
fly you in and
But
put you
they,
up.
yeah, they'd cover the flight. And by the way, I would do a contract myself through my parents' fax machine.
Oh, you were doing it yourself.
Yeah.
There's the
Well, what did
there's,
your
there's the
parents-
Jewish part, Ciph.
What'd your
Yeah, no,
parents do?
it made me. My mom's a translator. My dad's a linguist. They're both.
Yeah.
They both started off as teachers and then got into translation and language and stuff like that.
And
So,
and where were they born?
my mom was born in Casablanca, Morocco. So I'm two kinds of Jew. My mom's Sephardic from Morocco. My dad was born in Montreal in an English-speaking Ashkenazi family.
Okay, and where are his parents
Europe,
from?
Eastern Europe, Poland, Ukraine.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they came over and went to Montreal, as a lot of Jews did.
Yes. On my dad's side, like my name Maklovich, it was my great grandfather that came over from.
Oh, so they were here for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing these gigs now. What about? Are there any stories of chicks throwing it at you when you were 16 years old?
Those are Carhartt girls. Just so you know,
Exactly.
those are Carhartt girls.
Those are Carhartt girls, 100%.
Yeah, 'cause by the way, the other thing, the categories of gigs I would get booked at, there was like the purely scratchy shows.
Yeah.
There was the raves, but there was also these sort of like skate and snowboard kind of shows.
Okay, so now
Right.
hold on. And before we get to that, because I want to hear, I need to hear this part, because no matter what he's hinting, there's some story there.
Not even, dude.
There's going to be something. Ciph, I want to talk to you about something. I don't know if you heard the conversation I was having with our guy Ant earlier.
No.
Over here at End of Era, where we record the show, but we were talking about how he's building the new website.
Yeah.
And guess how he's doing it?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Squarespace.
That's absolutely right. So if you want a site, you want a professionally designed, amazing site, doesn't matter your skill level, there's no coding required. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. Even a bona fide moron.
Oh, I did mine.
Like Cipha Sounds,
Yeah.
exactly, could build a website on Squarespace.com. So all you got to do is go over to Squarespace. It's super easy. They have actually, whoa, hold on. You can start your free trial site right now.
Oh.
No credit card required.
Tell me more.
Go to Squarespace.com, and when you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure you use the code WANEP. They'll give you a free trial right now. So go to Squarespace.com, use the code WANEP, support the show, build your website finally, build a store, whatever you need to do. Maybe one day DJ A-Track and Fool's Gold, maybe one day they'll want to build a website. Squarespace, build it beautiful. Speaking of beautiful,
Oh yeah.
tell us about the beautiful women who were throwing it at you when you were
Dude,
16
there
years
wasn't
old.
like I was
None?
I was DJing for a crowd that was 90% male, and then if anything, some girl might come up to me and be like, "That was so good. My boyfriend is such a big fan of yours."
Oh God! Shut up, bitch.
Why do you think I got into electronic music later?
Right, exactly. You're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
All right, so you went...
And around the same time, my brother went from playing in rock bands to producing hip hop beats. and we had a group in Montreal
that's right.
who were his high school friends. That was called Obscure Disorder.
Of course, I have the record.
Okay, so we made a couple singles, and we got a distribution deal through Fat Beats, which like no one else in Canada was doing. And again, Raider helped me with that too. I was trying to get a deal with Fat Beats. They were sunning us. I called Raider. He called Rich King, and it was like
Rich called you back immediately.
Yeah, he said pick up A-Track's record, and Rich called us back, and we're like, all right, fine. And then we had a deal with Fat Beats for years. And Audio Research, the label that Dave and I started at right from that first release, technically stayed alive until I started Fool's Gold with Catch Dubs in 2007.
Anyone else?
Note?
Yeah.
There was D-Styles, who was part of the Scratch Pickles. We put out some of his records. DJ Sirius, a producer from Toronto.
I love DJ Sirius.
Yeah, we put out his 2 albums.
Compilations, right?
Just like him producing beats with rappers.
Yeah.
And a couple of other things and Craze. But you know what the real moneymaker was? The cash cow of Audio Research in reality was all the battle records that me and Craze and the rest of the allies used to make.
Right.
Battle records would sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
We would sell 20,000 vinyls, in part because DJs would buy doubles right off the bat,
Yeah.
and then they would wear those out and they'd buy another pair of doubles.
Right.
So we were making, and it cost nothing to make. There's no
Yeah, I was
studio
gonna say,
sessions.
There's no clearing
you just-
samples.
No,
I know that shit.
everything was bootleg. There's no studio sessions. You just put a bunch of samples on one after the other, press it up, and you literally sell 20,000 of them, which at the time was a lot of records.
What was your choice? Do you have any preferences for your battle records that you like to?
Which ones did I used to
Like
use?
what sounds you like to really use?
I was I always really liked there's that I forget where it's from.
Now, did you steal some from other battle records
Of
too?
course, that's what you would do. I didn't. You think I knew Change the Beat?
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
didn't know
say.
that record. No, you would grab a Dirt Style record. Dirt Style was the Hubert's label. They were EQ'd perfectly anyways. You would grab a Dirt Style record, record the fresh off of there, and put on your record. And maybe add a couple more of your own. Didn't matter. Just your own arrangement. You sell 20, 30,000 of them. Incredible cash cow. And then you make a funny cover because Scratch DJs have zany senses of humor. So it's like, hey, here's me as a giraffe or something. Yo, so my first my first Scratch record was called why am I blanking right now? My second one was Monkey Boy Breaks. The first one that I did a parody of Lil Wayne, The Block Is Hot. And
On the cover?
on the cover art. So on the cover of Lil Wayne, The Block Is Hot, he was wearing these Tommy Hilfiger boxers with the USA flag, like over his Jabro jeans, and there was like cop cars on fire behind him. So I like made boxers with the Canadian flag and wore that, and I had my skinny little 17-year-old white boy chest, because he was bare-chested, and had a fake tattoo that said Thug Life. And we photoshopped the whole thing. It was sort of like fake pen and pixel, and that's the kind of stuff that we would do.
And then other DJ nerds would think it was wacky, and they'd be like, I mean, because honestly,
But you can still find that record. So now I have friends through the Fool's Gold world who will go to a vinyl shop. Like I really remember when Chuck English went into a record shop, like maybe 2 years ago, and saw my battle record where I'm bare-chested impersonating Lil Wayne and sent me a picture from his phone. Like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
and
yeah.
there's a lot of
There's
copies of
probably-
those out there. Because
Yeah.
you sold a shitload of them.
Yeah.
And there's probably tons of people who you're friends with now that don't even know about your past, like your battle days and your
Exactly.
And you're like
Yeah,
putting
are there
out
a lot-
little DJ records.
Are
and
there a
stuff.
lot of people like that who really don't know how deep
Absolutely.
it goes with you?
Absolutely. There's like kind of my career has like a couple chapters, right? Like there's the DMC battle days, there's the Kanye days, and there's the Fool's Gold.
Oh yeah,
sort of producer
Should we-
days.
I forgot. Should we ask him about
Yeah,
Kanye?
I'm trying to
Yeah,
get to it.
But there's a lot of fans that just know me from like, my recent stuff or Duck Sauce or
Yeah.
my remix of Heads Will Roll or whatever else, or just, being the guy that signed this group or that group. And then one day they're on YouTube and they're like, wait, is this the same A-Track? When they
Right.
pull up the clip that you just posted. If anything, a lot of people know I worked with Ye. That is kind of like where
So how did that happen again?
Kanye?
Yeah,
Random meeting in London.
in London, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. What were you?
I was in London to do a gig. I was, at that point I was touring. It was early 2004. I was already a fan of his. College Dropout had just come out, but as far as I was concerned, I was just traveling, doing one-off gigs, like just a whole bunch of
you
one-offs.
never did you go to college?
I started. Yeah, I really liked school, and I really wanted to finish school. I studied physics in Montreal at
Wow.
McGill University, And
fine university.
But your career was just moving.
but I was already doing gigs. I was already touring. It was a lot of one-offs, but I was on the road a lot, so I just couldn't keep it up. When I met Ye, I was still in school. The big irony is that college dropout made me drop out of college. When I started touring with Kanye, I had to stop college. But I met Kanye in London. I was just there for a club gig. I got booked at an in-store the same day as John Legend. He came to support John, who was pretty unknown at the time. He was just the guy that sang on his record.
Yeah.
And saw me do a beat juggle with a Jay-Z record and this and that. And he was like...
In the in-store?
In the in-store.
He didn't know of you before that?
No idea. So he saw me, he was like, this kid's good. And he needed a DJ because he was already booked to go on his first big tour, which was going to be that summer, which was the Truth Tour with Usher. He was going to be open for Usher in arenas around the country, and he didn't have a DJ. His DJ at the time was Don C, who they would call DJ Offbeat. That was his nickname because he wasn't a DJ.
Yeah, what did Don? I heard that Don C used to do that. What did he do? Like,
Don
have a
and Plain
replay?
Pat. Yeah, pretty much. They had a replay. So either Don or Plain Pat, they would take turns as being Kanye's DJ in the beginning, like back when Kanye would go on the road with Kweli or Little Brother or whoever. But then stuff was starting to get a little bit more serious. He had to do a real tour. He saw me by chance in London, was like, this guy needs to be my DJ. A lot of people around him knew who I was. So we started talking right then and there, and his Rockefeller people or whatever were like, yeah, this is A-Trak. He's a world champion. And Kanye was like, okay, whatever I just saw was good.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. That sounds good.
I just know how to spot talent.
Which, by the way, had he seen you, 6 months earlier before he was popping, and you listened to College Dropout, and before he would have had this Usher tour, would it have even made sense for you to stop what you were doing to go out with him?
I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know, but it's...
It worked out perfectly.
It worked out.
Because
It worked out.
to go to an arena tour, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But you were already kind of popping.
Yeah.
So it worked out nicely.
Yeah, it worked out. And I remember there was it took 2-3 months to confirm because they had to run all their budgets by Usher's people. And literally how many, backstage passes are they going to be? How many people are on the bus? And they had that already set. Then he met me and he was like, I want to add a DJ. And it wasn't working out with the numbers and stuff. And his mom was part of the conversation. Literally, I remember Don C calling me being like, yeah, Ms. West is trying to make it work for you or whatever.
So weird.
Yeah, rest in peace to Ms. West. And then I put all my gigs aside. I remember there was a point where I was getting nervous about my cash flow because I was not taking on gigs anymore because I knew what the dates of the tour was going to be.
Right.
But they were still not fully confirming me. Months were going by, and finally at the last minute, they were like, all right, you're flying to Hampton, Virginia, I think was where the first show was, and we're going to do this tour. And I never rehearsed with them. We did a 2-hour sound check on the first day, and it was off to the races, and I just had to figure it out.
Wow.
No rehearsals.
Did they
Which
have...
never changed. Kanye never did rehearsals. If he did, years later when he had big tours, he would spend all his rehearsals doing lights and visuals. But whoever's on stage musically is expected to just get it. You don't get to rehearse. He spends all the time on lights. He loves the guy loves lights. All of the lights, all of them.
Lights.
Yeah, I can tell he's obsessed with lights. Artists love... Let me tell you something. This difference between rappers or probably musicians in general and DJs, I don't even ever think about that. And I can tell they think about it endlessly.
Yeah.
Some people do, not all.
Not all, but there are a lot of people that when they get to a certain level, it's like, yo, if I can't get my lights right.
At the light show.
Second reference that we've had today of Antidote.
Yeah.
All right, so you...
Song of the moment.
What, were you, sorry, nerd question.
Hit me.
Were you DJing on, did they do a promo press instrumental vinyl?
No.
It was already CDJ?
So here's the thing. This is 2004.
Shit.
Yeah. Serato came out in 2003. I was literally the first Serato endorsee ever. I was on Serato. I met the Serato guys at a trade show, NAMM. You probably know about NAMM, the music equipment trade show in Anaheim. So I met the Serato guys early. They used to send me these beta versions of their software. And I was just I would test them and send them comments and stuff. And then Serato comes out. I'm the first guy to use it. I got Jazzy Jeff to use Serato. I got AM to use Serato. Then everybody else started using it after. But I get to the Kanye gig, and they don't know what the hell Serato is, but they're scared of having a laptop on stage. They were used to having their whole show on a replay. So, and by the way, I wasn't even fully doing my sets on Serato yet. I was still getting used to Serato. I had some vinyl and some Serato.
Like for sound effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To cut during songs.
Yeah, so...
Serato was scary back then. It was crashing left and right, yo.
Yeah, it used to crash. So the first maybe year, I would say, I would play all the tracks on the replay, and then I would scratch on vinyl. And it took me about a year to convince the whole team to let me try Serato at a
Oh,
couple
Mr.
shows.
Innovator, Kanye West doesn't want to use the new technology. Busted, motherfucker.
And by the way, I remember some shows when we started using Serato. There was one show I can remember in Baltimore where my song library wouldn't load up. And we were mid-tour, and the whole show was depending on Serato. And like for maybe 10 minutes, but what felt like an hour,
an eternity. Yeah.
the whole show was held up because my Serato wasn't loading up my
You
songs.
didn't have backups on CDs?
Nah, I don't
I
think
always
so.
had backups on CDs.
Oh, at first you did? Of course you did.
So it was scary in the beginning, but eventually we started using it again.
So how long?
Or we started using it all the time.
How long did the Kanye run last?
I did 4 years with Kanye. And during my fourth year, I started Fool's Gold. So I DJ'd for Kanye from 2004 to the end of 2007. I did like one last run with him at the top of 2008.
Wait, so you did you do whatchamacallit? Glow in the Dark?
Glow in the Dark. I did the European initial run of Glow in the Dark, which was a different show, and then I left after that tour.
Yeah,
and then he spent a couple months creating the show that became Glow in the Dark in North America.
The drums and all that. Is
Where
that
he
Glow
was
in the
just
Dark?
by himself. No, he was just by himself on the planet.
Which is the one with the drums?
Yeah.
He was I don't remember the drums. He was by himself on the planet. I remember him calling me during that period between the Europe tour and when he was conceptualizing the North America tour, and we were just catching up on the phone one day, and he's like, yeah, now that you're gone, I took everyone off stage. The next tour is just me. Because they used to be, if you saw us during like the Touch the Sky tour, which was late registration era, it was me, it was a string section, you had a keyboard player and a percussionist, all these people behind him on stage.
Right.
You know, the first shows that he and I did was me, him, and John Legend. That's it. We were, like, John and I were the band. Over the years, we brought in string sections. I used to coach the string section, which I had no training to do, but I just had to figure it out. Yeah, it would just be like, talk to A-Track.
It's your accent.
Yes.
You sound like you should know what you're doing.
Your accent sounds like you know how to move some strings.
Hey.
Did you do Saturday?
But after I left, he took everybody off stage. I felt terrible.
Did you do Saturday Night Live?
I did one of the Saturday Night Lives, the one with Gold Digger, yeah.
Was it Gold Digger? Yeah,
Gold Digger, and I forget what the other song was.
I wonder what.
Because I worked on Graduation is like the most involved that I got musically with Ye. Like that, there was a year where he worked on B for Common, and I scratched on Go and Shy City, and then he worked. Yeah, that was a great album. And then he worked on
I love B.
Graduation, and you know I pretty much gave him the Daft Punk sample, and we worked like I was.
And that's
much,
a known thing, right?
Yeah. And I was very involved with the Graduation album, just in terms of like the direction of it and everything.
Good job.
Well, good job, because I think it could be his most perfect piece of work.
It's pretty damn good.
I mean, that and Dark Fantasy are, to me, the perfect piece of work.
Depends who you
Yeezus,
ask.
man.
Yeezus is phenomenal too.
That Yeezus is something else.
I know he's wrong. It's very good though. I love Yeezus.
Yeezus is amazing.
So I left, and he did the Glow in the Dark tour, and he did 808s also after I left. I remember, and he did 808s really fast. Like I was on tour, and I kept meaning to catch up with him, and time was going by. And one day I hit him like, "Yo, let's catch up." He's like, "All right, I'm in Hawaii, come through." And I came through, and 808s was done already. He had been there for like a month or two, and I was just finishing up a tour. I went to see him. He played me the album, and I'm like, "Okay, you're done. Like, you have an album done."
On
Wow.
Graduation, was he still completely hands-on with equipment on Graduation, or had he already stopped kind of being hands-on with equipment?
No, he was still quite hands-on. He always used the ASR and the MPC.
And because like now, you get the sense that at least for a while, he has not been the one who's sitting there like trimming the fucking samples himself.
Not every time, but once in a while he'll have like, the thing is the way he uses those machines, he gets a very, very specific sound out of it. Even maybe the way he'll like manually trigger something, or the way the ASR will make a sample sound really dry or stuff like that. So when he has an idea, he'll do it, but sometimes it's an engineer that'll just do something on Pro Tools, or sometimes someone else will start a beat like a Hudmo or someone like that. He'll grab the stems and add stuff to it. But yeah, at Graduation, he was sitting there with the sampler.
By the way, shout out to Hudmo, who's a huge Juan Epstein fan, Hudson Mohawk,
Yeah, shout out to Hudmo.
who hit me up and
Who's he? I met him before.
Hudson Mohawk.
He's a
Really good
producer. He's an awesome producer and just general hip hop nerd also.
Who's the guy who did Diamonds?
Diamonds.
It was
Ooh.
is he John Legend's?
Do you mean John Bryan? No, because John Bryan played on a lot of stuff on that album. I don't remember who
I met a
originally
guy-
made the beat for Diamonds. But Kanye added a ton of production on Diamonds. I remember he was very excited to record a harpsichord because that sounded really fancy. He was like, "Dog, we got the harpsichord."
I'm so not
And
surprised.
very
by that.
funny factoid about the production of Diamonds. Michel Gondry, the video producer, video director, French video director, who did a lot of stuff for he did some Daft Punk videos, notably, and he played the drums on Diamonds. Kanye just wanted to brag that he got an artsy fartsy French video director to play drums on one of
Well,
his songs.
from this point on Juan Ep until the rest of eternity, I will credit this episode as the fanciest from the way you just said that French name.
Yeah, it's very
By the
true.
way, Gondry also directed the Dave Chappelle Block Party movie, where I was DJing for Ye. Also,
Oh, you DJ in Block Party. Ciph, how was your appearance at Block Party?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Who's calling you?
I don't know, but a number very similar to mine.
weird.
That's very.
it's your conscience
Answer that.
calling you.
You got to answer that. Answer it. Put on speaker.
Well, I don't have to. Hello.
This is an exclusive announcement from Expedia. Your telephone number has been pre-selected to receive a $2,600 credit towards your next trip. You must have a combined...
I'm out here.
You're like, peace.
Killing it.
All right. By the way, the producers of Diamonds are Kanye, John Brion, and Devo Springsteen.
Devo.
That's the guy.
Devo is was he Kanye's cousin? I think
He's somebody's cousin. I
Yeah,
know. I remember when
he's
I met
someone's
him.
cousin, and he used to be John Legend's roommate.
That's what it is. He was John Legend's
So that's how
roommate.
John
Yeah.
Legend got to Kanye.
Right. Correct. You are correct in your history.
Do you ever hear from Kanye?
Yeah, I just saw him last week.
And what does he ever call and say random things to you out of nowhere that make you laugh and you say, I wish that the rest of the world could hear how random and Kanye
Absolutely,
Kanye's being?
the guy's hysterical.
Like at all times, it sounds like it's like a very Kanye experience.
Yeah, he's very funny. He's neurotic to a level that's almost Jewish, and that's very funny.
Yes, inherently.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it almost goes beyond Jewish neuroses. Like but it's like a different remixed.
Yeah,
It's like a remix of Jewish neuroses.
Yeah. He's very funny.
Would you ever go back on the road to tour DJ for someone again?
Tentatively, if it was a really cool kind of arrangement, yeah.
Maybe like a Fool's Gold tour. Well, you do a Fool's Gold tour basically now.
Yeah.
How much work is Fool's Gold Day off, by the way?
It's a lot.
It's a handful, I'd imagine.
Sorry, what I missed?
A lot.
Congrats.
A-Track just came out.
I know Nick Catchdubs.
Yeah.
He used to be some kind of journalist. He interviewed
he was at
me
the
for
Fader.
something. Fader, yeah.
He's one of the editors at the Fader.
Oh, he might have did the Nina Sky story on
He
Fader
was a
for
big
me.
supporter of Nina
Yes,
Sky.
that's how I met him.
I knew he was a hack. I always knew
He's a
Catchdubs
fucking-
was a big
he's
hack.
a fucking weirdo. But that kid shows me so much love.
he's the
Yeah,
best.
it's-
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick
But what,
Catchdubs.
and by the way, Ciph, what's interesting to me, even about the three of us at this table and Catch Dini himself is like...
Catch Dini.
Yeah, Twitter name. Is I feel like there was an era where I think maybe each of us took a slightly different lane through hip hop, and to me, it's like the shiny suit era. It's like when around the time when Stretch went to Hot 97, right? Like when you were either a Company Flow fan or
We talk about this a lot.
yeah, because it's interesting. And I feel like maybe you straddled that line a little bit because you were involved with the soundbombing stuff, but then you were still getting a little jiggy. I was a little bit more of a backpacker, and I was friends with nonfiction, and Catch Dubs was definitely on the jiggier side of things.
I felt very loyal to Funkmaster Flex and the radio.
Okay.
And then the lane that the radio was in led me down that road. And then if I do something, I try to do it to the best of my ability. So I became the best of that I could be.
But you still kept up on the underground stuff in those times?
It faded a lot.
Okay.
Faded a lot.
Yeah, it was all image with Ciph. He was a big phony. But he was well
No,
out of fat beats.
I look back and I realized that the paths I shouldn't. I don't regret, but I wish I would have kept more of that and stuff.
The records that I knew by heart, I was listening to Godfather Dawn. I was listening to like the Cenobites and Scaramanga and
Yeah, but see, even that stuff. When I worked in Fat Beats, I didn't love it.
Right.
I'm saying I was more into it than you, probably.
Right. Like,
you know what I mean?
I was
friends with the Arsonists. Like that, I was really into that.
I
whole
like
scene.
fucked with some Arsonist stuff, but like all that stuff, Scaramanga, Arsonist, Godfather Don, etc. Even like MF Grimm.
Yeah.
I sort of aired on. It was just funny because I kind of stayed known as an underground guy for a long time, but I aired on still more commercial leaning than that.
You were just listening to Lil Mo in your bedroom.
Forever. I honestly, Lil Mo,
I like energy in music.
Yeah.
And again, I never smoked or anything, so I never got into like the slow, weedy music, except for like Black Moon and all that stuff. But like, I still like I love Puff. You know what I'm saying? I love the bad boy sound.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't love the.
Yeah, and by the way,
aesthetic,
by the way, even though I was definitely an underground head in those years, I loved anything that was coming out on Bad Boy because the Hitmen were just so good.
Yeah,
and to me, Nasheem is one of those producers that took the maybe sort of large pro sound and just made it sound bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when T.O.N.Y. came out, that record just sounded bigger than anything.
Right,
they
got
still
into
sounded gritty.
It was gritty.
It wasn't a keyboard beat.
No, they found the proper way to make it sound warmer and bigger. You know, like that all could be an engineer.
It's engineering.
Or and
because Just Blaze picked up on that years later.
Right.
Nasheem was making those beats.
Nasheem is
and Havoc's sound kind of got bigger too. Like on Murder Music, those records were not.
Yeah, Havoc.
It wasn't
got
lo-fi
bigger
anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Havoc did do that to an he's underrated for the fact
but
that
there's a lot of people
Definitely.
that like.
Havoc's
But Sheik told me, Sheik Luch, right, who has the same manager as Ghostface.
Okay.
They often go on the road together.
Mike Caruso.
Mike Caruso, we know Mike Caruso.
They go Ghostface and Sheik Luch shows, right?
Oh, shit.
And Ghost said that when Sheik does his old Bad Boy records and Ghost does his old Wu records, the Bad Boy Sonics smash.
Of course.
The sound quality smash the Wu records.
Credit to Puff, to anyone who says that Puff wasn't a producer. He had to be the guy with the ear to at least like,
of course,
you know.
Yeah,
and when
everything on Bad Boy sounded so good.
I hate the term producer; it's so vague.
Yeah, and by the way, even when Easy Mo B was making Craig Mack beats on the SP12, it still sounded better than SP12 beats on other labels.
Right,
like a Craig Mack track on an SP that's like low bit rate still sounded crazy.
Not
big.
more. How do you and guys? And where did this? Where are the times when these Puffy and Wu Sonics came together at the same time?
What, I don't know what you're saying.
He's setting us up for a question. Yeah,
that's a trivia question.
Oh, sorry, say it again.
When did the Sonics
Triumph, maybe?
of RZA and Diddy come together?
Last Kiss Goodnight.
Yep.
B.I.G.
And technically, there's more than that.
What was before that? Oh, the Meth and Mary.
Boom.
Ooh, yeah.
Those two. And those are the only two I can think of.
Yeah.
But you can hear it on
Last
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's super RZA, but it's super pumped up Diddy style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that whole album is all our favorite producers. Premier, Havoc,
Everyone
RZA,
sounds bigger.
but everything is ran through Stevie J and the Hitmen. And
the low ends on 10 Crack Commandments, there's never been like a sub under a kick on a Premier beat that sounds as good as the one on 10 Crack Commandments.
This is the fucking
And
nerdiest
And by
shit
the
ever.
way, funny conversation about RZA and, you know, someone fixing up his beats kind of thing. So over the years, again, through friendship with Rock Raider, I became friends with Sean C. Right? And Sean C. A&R'd some of my favorite records on Loud. And I used to ask...
by the way, how have we not done Sean C on this podcast?
Oh, you have to bring Sean C and LV.
We had him for something.
I don't think we did one up with them, though. I think we promoted their album
Oh,
on
that's
the
right.
radio.
They came on the radio. Sean C.
I don't think
Sean
we
C.
have
Shout out to Sean C.
Great guys.
Incredible dude. Really good dude. And, you know... A&R, the first Dead Prez album, the Big Pun, Capital Punishment. All
He
that
A&R'd a song, the whole soundtrack.
Yeah.
One of my favorites ever.
So I remember asking him about, what
writing his
was it,
name down.
Tres Leches, the song on the Punch shit that RZA produced. And he told me the story that when RZA gave them the ADAT with that beat, the beat didn't have a hi-hat and it sounded too messy.
Right.
So they, you know, Sean C. and like the sort of production team of the Big Pun album decided they needed to add a hi-hat to that beat. But RZA didn't put the synth tone on the ADAT, so there's no way to sync it.
Right.
So he sat there and manually played a hi-hat.
Right.
Like Public Enemy style through the whole beat.
Dude.
That's a manually triggered hi-hat on Tres Leches.
And it's funny, Tres Leches has some weird things in the beginning, in general. You know how when it comes in, it drops in almost offbeat?
Yeah.
When the first drum comes in on the scratch, it's just a weird, amazing song.
RZA.
Okay, last thing before we let you go.
Sorry, sorry. I had to take a phone call. But yeah,
The RZA.
sorry.
You already missed it, Ciph.
I love that song. That song definitely has a.
And by the way, I saw the RZA at some sort of like. Good one.
That's like Tres Leches.
Yeah, that's right. That's the is that the Funky Penguin drums? I think. Anyways, I met RZA at some sort of dinner in LA last year, and all he wanted to talk about was 3D printers. It was the funniest shit. Like the RZA is the, and he's always got his mind on technology. He's like, yo, they got these 3D printers, and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to talk to you.
Can you imagine? Have you been in a room in like maybe in Hawaii or something with RZA and Kanye at the same time?
I wasn't there when RZA came.
That's got to be. Those conversations have to be on a different level.
I heard. I'm not a
Yes.
huge Kid Cudi fan, but my assistant G Code loves Kid Cudi, so she's been playing it. And there's a song, I guess, RZA on a Kid Cudi album,
Sounds logical.
but it's just him rapping, and I think Kid Cudi just does the hook.
Yeah.
Yo,
It's good.
Has she played you the Michael Bolton record with Kid Cudi?
no,
That's
maybe
that's
I
my
just,
favorite Cudi record.
Usually, this is what it sounds like when she plays stuff. Turn that shit off.
Exactly.
But I heard RZA's voice. I was like, "What's that?"
I would listen to RZA books on tape any day of the week.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Are there any?
No, I don't think so.
He didn't do any of his books.
His own,
books?
the Wu-Tang Manual, that was a great book. I don't think he did the book on tape. I would listen to RZA read menu pages to me.
Yeah.
All right, we have to let.
You gotta let him go. He's gotta go.
A-Track has.
Did we do any
Fool's Gold? It's popping enough. Fool's Gold Day off is this weekend. Buy tickets. The lineup's incredible.
Thank you.
Meek.
Skepta, Post
Skepta,
Malone.
which is crazy.
Skepta, come on.
Yeah, dude.
No, man.
What,
no.
why?
Because I played Skepta before any fucking bite. Fuck all you new come along Lukey World shutdown fuck faces, okay?
Let him know, Ciph.
No, I saw Skepta at OVO and I was like, dude, all I want, just tell people I was first. Yo. That's
By the way,
I want.
By
yo.
the way, did you watch my interview with him in which I said that?
He said it?
I said it.
Please, yo. I've been on. You could go on my iTunes.
And I said it with Krept and Conan,
You can see
too.
the date.
Krept and Conan, too, right?
They came by the show?
Yeah.
Can you tell me when these people come by?
Sorry. Wait, do you play Krept and Conan, too, right?
Of course.
It was whatchamacallit.
Don't waste my time.
Don't waste
Don't waste my time.
Tell me don't waste my
Because
time.
they at first were like, yeah, you were on it early. And I was like, I'm going to stop you. You're thinking it was me. It was just Cipha.
Fuck these
Ciph, calm down. Anyways, so the lineup's incredible for Fool's Gold Day off. If you've never done
Zombies. We got, there's a lot.
there'll be special guests. There
Yes.
always are.
Wait,
Yes.
when is this? This weekend?
Monday.
Monday,
Labor Day
Labor Day.
Monday. So if you've never gone, it is an incredible way to spend your Labor Day. I wanted to ask you for some AM stories. Okay. But I guess, does anything jump out in your mind? If there's anything that you want to say about AM, feel free. We're going to have you back again. Mm-hmm. But we always say that, and who knows when it happens. But I mean, how long, how did you get to be friends with AM? Besides you both being Jew DJ nerds.
Yeah, we met through Samantha Ronson, strangely enough. Because AM, at first, people like scratchy turntablists like me and my friends, we didn't really know him. He loved scratching, but he wasn't really in the DMCs. So I got to know him when he was starting to play in Vegas. And I went to see, who's this guy that's apparently cutting out here and, doing these crazy sets. So I met him, I want to say in 2005. During a Kanye tour, we had a Vegas show, and I went to see him play at the Palms or something. So, yeah, I was friends with him for 4 years.
What era is... He was still on vinyl at the time?
No, 05.
Yeah, he was not. He was on vinyl at first. I remember when he switched to Serato,
really?
a couple months later.
The first couple times I saw him, it was on vinyl.
Yeah, it was still on vinyl.
How the fuck is he doing this?
What, his blends?
Blends, mashup, live mashups.
Yeah.
With how many turntables?
Sweet Home
Just
Alabama
two.
mixed with Shook Ones. I was I almost passed out.
Yeah.
Crazy. 2 turntables.
Yeah.
With 2 turntables. Mm-hmm. He was that ill.
With a cigarette.
Yeah, he was very... Yeah,
And he'd be smoking during it, which is very impressive.
I think so.
I just tell you,
right.
smoking DJing is very difficult. I like to do it because
Every
it seems
French...
cool.
Go to France, every French DJ has a...
Cigarette hanging?
Yeah, just hanging, exactly. You know the style. Serge Gainsbourg style. AM was very active in the way that he mixed. That's the way, he was always doing something. He didn't know how to sit still. That's just his personality. That was his personality. He couldn't sit still, so he was mixing and just always doing something. He made me feel lazy because for me, my scratching stuff was was very technically advanced. So I felt like, and I'm not trying to brag, but like, you know what I mean? Like I would do these routines that were quite complex. So the rest of my sets were more of a breather, and I would mix and cut a bit, but like,
You didn't have to mix a whole record. You could sit there with your headphones on and cue and just chill out for a second.
And just chill, because like 10 minutes later I was going to do something crazy, but AM was always doing something the whole way. So it made me rethink the way that I mixed. I was like, man, I'm being lazy. This guy's kind of killing me.
And it's funny because he was so ill.
Yeah.
Technically, like scratching and all that shit, but rocked the party though.
Yeah,
like,
he was one of the rare ones.
Yeah.
It's like him, J-Rock, Jazzy Jeff. There's a couple guys like that really know how to like balance the technicality and the party rocking.
I want to shout out Riz. Sorry.
Yeah, Riz,
too.
absolutely.
Riz is not a
absolutely?
robot.
What about the words for like those of us who can do neither well?
Yeah, yeah. What are we called?
But I appreciate.
The ne'er-do-wells can't do shit. I have records. I love it. I really enjoy it.
I had the same birthday as AM, by the way. Yeah.
What's your birthday?
March 30th.
March 30th.
There's a lot of. Do you want me to give you the rundown? It's a pretty cool birthday.
Yes.
MC Hammer, DJ AM, Nora Jones, Vincent Van Gogh, Eric Clapton. I'm forgetting a few, but that's pretty good already.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Me, Haile Selassie, done.
That's dope. My brother has the same birthday as Prince.
Prince is a good one.
Yeah, and then so
that works well for your brother too.
I was with P-Thug, the other member, Chromeo, when we found like there was a website that just gives you that info. So I'm tripping out like, oh shit, I have Vincent Van Gogh and MC Hammer, and then I'm like, hold on, let me look up Dave. He's got Prince, and then P's like, oh, let me see who I have, and he looks, and it was just Wesley Snipes, and he was really bummed out.
Hold on, so I've heard to add one. Me, Haile Selassie, Jay Medina.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
She's a coworker of ours from Hot.
So apparently, if your parents fucking June, you get some talent.
Apparently so. Hey, A-Trak. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say while we mentioned AM, I saw that they're still doing a fundraiser for his documentary.
Yeah, on Indiegogo. Yeah, you can.
So there's an Indiegogo, so we can get the AM documentary.
Because the movie is done, but now they're trying to get distribution, and they're trying to clear the music, and clearing music's expensive, and you can't make a movie about DJ AM without clearing these songs, obviously. So yeah, please go to Indiegogo and look up the DJ AM documentary. The movie's called As I Am. It's supposed to drop later in the fall.
What were you going to say, Ciph?
No, I wanted him to finish, but while we're talking about Kickstarters and Indiegogos and stuff, the Stretch and Bob one.
Yeah,
I think they're good.
Oh, really? They made it?
I saw them. I went to the premiere for the movie.
Peter's like, nah, they're fine.
I went up to them at both, and I was like, guys, well, we want to do a proper podcast with you. I was like, it was great having Bobito on. I was like, we need you both. Yeah. Like, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
And Bob was like, let's wait for the movie when it comes out.
Right.
I was like, you sure? You don't want to do it now and get the money? He was like, we're moving.
Oh.
So it felt like they got
okay.
That being said, if they still need it, go support the Stretch and Bob movie. It's amazing.
Just a little clip they had online.
Dude, I saw it.
Amazing.
It's what you want.
Yeah.
Which is, I sat down. I'm like, the story is whatever. It's great. It's awesome. I care about their story. Give me the clips of these legends freestyling.
Show me Big L. Show me all those guys.
So there's a lot of clips in there you're gonna want to see. You're gonna love it. So
I went on their show twice when I was 15 and 16, and I met Lord Finesse. I met Organized Confusion.
Oh, you must have been dying,
dude. It was crazy.
You must have not known what to do at 15, 16 years old. Did you get drops from them?
No,
you didn't care about drops.
I didn't used to get drops.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Although in retrospect,
did you know you could?
And Lord Sear.
Yeah, you didn't know you'd be able to put him on Serato and cut him later.
And Lord Sear clowned me like I'd never been clowned before. Respectfully, but he clowned me a lot.
Of course. You looked like a child when you showed up.
A child with a French Canadian accent. Like, come on.
How strong was your accent back then?
It was stronger. And literally, I walked up and he goes, A-Trak, where's your shoulders? And I was like, all right, cool. All right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then he saw my brother. He goes, hey, it's Paul from the Wonder Years. I was like, all right, we're done. We're done here. Our work here is done.
Oh, that's incredible. All right, DJ A-Trak, thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Anytime.
Go to Fool's Gold Day Off.
FGDayoff.com.
FGDayoff.com. That's for the tickets and all that. Cypher?
Bye.
See you later.